Hi guys, are you finding winter quite hard? Ever find that porridge oats can be quite boring? Has anyone ever thought, look, I need more greens in my day, but the idea in a drink would actually be quite unpleasant? Well, I beg to differ. We're going to show you a nice way of actually having more greens in your day via a smoothie. But also, I'm going to show you oats 3 ways. Neish is going to kick off with showing you her version of sort of like a birch and muesli. The second one I'm going to show you is using oat bran. And the third one is a very quick and easy muesli that you can make for the whole family. So see what you think.
Hi guys, well here's Bec and I in the kitchen. We just thought we'd go through a few of our favourite breakfasts with you just to show you what we do, and what we do is pretty simple, quick and easy really. So I'm going to start with a smoothie that we have every day. As you know, Gary's a little Energizer bunny, and so he needs to eat heaps. So he actually has about 3 breakfasts every morning, but the way we always start is with a green smoothie. I've modified this recipe a little bit because Taj really loves it as well. So I've taken out some of the stronger flavours like ginger and celery, things like that, and I've just replaced them with things that we all love and we all can have every morning. So basically all it is 1 orange, throw it in the blender there. We do half a banana, throw that in, 2 thin slices of fresh pineapple. I'll just actually cut those up a little bit more. That's a whole pear. I haven't even cored it or anything, just the stalks off, and that's about it. I throw it all in, and then this is a couple of cups of spinach. You can use spinach, silver beet, baby spinach, some kale. We use all of that, just whatever looks good at the fruit market that week. And what I love about making a smoothie is that you can add things in there and you can hide them really. So I actually also put in a couple of tablespoons of the Vital Greens and a couple of tablespoons of the Udo's oil blend, just to give us that bit of extra boost during the day and make sure that we're getting all our essential oils in there. So that's what I do with those. I pop in about 500 mils of water, put it in our blender and blend it for about a minute. So that's all ready to go, and it comes out. I've actually already made one this morning, so you don't have to go through my minutes worth of blending. This is how it comes out, and it's beautiful. As I said, we all have it. Taj loves it. Taj loves his little green moustache that he gets every morning, so it's a little bit of fun as well. And that's what we have first thing before breakfast. So yeah, that's our green smoothie. Okay, so I've just blended up that smoothie. You can see how much it makes. That was just in one go there. It's about 5 or 6 serves back, do you reckon? Yep. You need to chill it. Tastes heaps better when it's been in the fridge for a little while, and that can last up to 3 days. So if there's only one of you making it, you can, drink that over a couple of days, have a bit of it as a snack, or have it before breakfast like we do. So that's the green smoothie. Our second breakfast that we make is a muesli, and it's called docker. It's super duper easy to make as well. All it is half a cup of oats, again straight in the blender. I always have almonds soaking, and they're always over here next to my blender. The reason for that is, so Bec tells me, is a bit better for digestion. Okay, they digest easier, is that right?
That's what I've heard, yeah.
Yeah. So I put in half a dozen almonds. I put in just a little bit of shaved coconut, just a touch. And I forgot my dates, but they're just right here. I'll put in a few nice organic dates. And then I just cut up the apple, core and all, pop that in, and add a little bit of cinnamon. And that's our breakfast muesli. And again, I've already done that. And here's a little bowl of it right here. Can you see that, Gary? There's the muesli there. And you can have that as a snack, or in the mornings we would put on a little bit of yogurt as well. So that would be Gary's second breakfast for the day. So there it is. That's our docker muesli.
Bec again. Just thought I'd show you what I have for breakfast in the morning, because one of the most common questions I get is, first of all, what do you have for breakfast? But also secondly, I don't like breakfast or I don't have time. So I'm going to show you what I eat every morning that charges me right through the day. It's actually quite quick and simple. So what I've based it on is oat bran, and I think a lot of you have heard me throughout the talks when we talk about whole foods that whole grain oats or oat bran is just so good for you. So if you've got a cholesterol problem, good for lowering cholesterol, it's low GI, so it'll sustain you until mid-morning, but it's also high in fibre. So here's the recipe, and it's really simple because the bowl I use I also cook with, so it takes literally 1 minute. So first of all, I just use about 1/4 cup of oat bran. Now that doesn't sound a lot, but oat bran's higher in fibre than your whole grain oats, so you need to use less. So just 1/4 cup, about 1/3 cup of water. I've tried this many times and I've found out that 1/3 cup water to 1/4 cup oat bran. Just put it in, and then what I do is just cut up a couple of prunes. Now the prunes I use, which I'm addicted to, and I don't like to use brands, but this is actually really, really nice. So there's some sweet prunes. Now they do have the preservative 202 in them, so that's the sulfites, but I have not found one without the sulfites. But the reason why I really like these ones is that they're so thick and juicy, so they make a fantastic snack, and I only need 2 for this recipe. So cut them up, and that's it. Pop it in the microwave for about a minute, and so when you're finished with it, all I do is put a teaspoon of LSA on top. So that's the linseed, sunflower seeds and almonds ground up. I keep that in the fridge to stop it going from rancid, because it's an oil-based seed and nut. So particularly in the hotter climate, it's best to keep that in the fridge. And then I just put a drizzle of soy milk on top. And literally, like I said before, it will take you about 1 minute, and pretty good recipe. Just taking it out of the microwave, and you see how much it's made. It increases in volume. So while 1/4 cup of oat bran doesn't seem so much, it actually is quite a lot. So it's really low in calories, but really high in fibre. So after that, like I said, I've put about a teaspoon of LSA in there. That's all you need. Mix it up. And then I put in a little bit of soy milk as well. Another thing I was going to mention is, if you find that it's still quite runny or you want some extra fibre, another thing you can do is put in a teaspoon of psyllium husks. Now psyllium is spelled P-S-Y-L-L-I-U-M, but it's actually said psyllium, so it's a silent P. And psyllium husks is from a natural husk, an actual plant. And a teaspoon of this also gives you extra fibre. It's good for cholesterol lowering, but also good for regular bowel motions too. But anyway, that's all you do. Pop in some of this soy milk. I have soy because I'm lactose intolerant, and I just prefer the taste. It's got a beautiful nutty taste. So mix it up, and like so. And there you go, something really winter warming for the start of the day. Me again, I thought I'd show you my second favourite breakfast. The one I showed you before, the oat bran and prunes, I have that about 4 days a week. Another day I usually have muesli, and on the weekend I usually cook eggs. There's usually some more time. So the muesli that I'm going to show you is really simple. I'm going to use some whole grain oats. The last recipe used oat bran. These whole grain oats, you can use more of them. They're less, don't have as much fibre, so I'm going to be using 1/3 cup. So, but I just thought you could still use the oat bran if you really like the taste. So it'd be 1/4 cup of oat bran, or 1/3 cup of oats in the bowl like so. I find it really hard to find any mueslis that satisfy me in the supermarket. So many of them have added sugars or preservatives. So this one made at home is not only healthier, but cheaper. So, third of a cup. My friend the prunes, feature yet again. Prunes, that blue colour is so high in antioxidants and so good for you, but also very naturally sweet. I've just chopped up 2. Here we go. One thing I thought I'd do before adding anything else is actually to add the cinnamon. I love the taste of cinnamon, so I'll just open this up. You would only need about 1/4 teaspoon, particularly organic ones. This is a really nice one that Neish bought, organic ground cinnamon, and the organic ones tend to be even more potent. So just about 1/4 teaspoon. That, and I'll mix that around. So had I planned this before, I would have probably added the cinnamon first to the oats, but just give it a bit of a stir around. I think it just smells beautiful. Okay, so there we go. One thing I'd like to mention as well, because this challenge is all about consistency, it also means consistency with food portions. So you can see in my oat container, I have 1/3 cup there. The same with the oat bran, I use 1/4 cup. And you'll be surprised on how many calories you can save if you're very mindful about how much you're putting into your bowl. Now that doesn't mean being obsessive, but quite often the biggest problem I have with clients coming in seeing me is they have quality food, but the quantity is always too much. So when we talked about in the challenge what you might want to work on, it might be more mindful about how much you're using. So speaking of portions, nuts are so good for you, but really high in fat. So while you can eat them every day, a small handful every day, about 30 grams, is fantastic to keep you healthy. You've got to be really careful with how much. So in this muesli recipe, I'm going to be putting in 1 tablespoon, which is probably about this much anyway. Yeah, look, I'll put the whole in. There we go. So just a tablespoon, I measured that. So if you were using whole walnuts, it would be about 3 or 4 walnuts. Mix it up. I'm also going to be putting in some LSA. So I showed you this before, linseed, sunflower seeds and almonds. So just a teaspoon. That's all you need. Around like that. And I'm sure you could tell me how many times you've been into a supermarket where you get a lot of organic mueslis, which are over $10. And they're quite expensive, so you can make them at home and it can be half the price. So once that's done, then you add in some soy milk. You could add in normal milk. I like the taste of soy, it's better for my tummy. So here we go. If you wanted a bit of yogurt, you could add a dollop of yogurt. The 2 favourites that I like is anything from the Jalna range. I usually go for an organic biodynamic natural. This one's got a bit of vanilla flavour in it, which is actually natural. I also like Tamar Valley, so you could pop a tablespoon of that in. And that's it. Really quick and easy. A really nice smoothie for the morning, cheap and very, very healthy. I think the theme of today is oats. I've got another oat recipe for you. The last recipe I made for you was a muesli that served 1. If you want to make a bulk, that's going to save you heaps of time. So this is what you will do. Just get a big container like this. This is taken from a Jamie Oliver recipe he makes a muesli, but he talks about a handful of this, a splash of that. I've tried to work out the ratio and I think I've come up with the right recipe. I've modified it slightly. So get yourself a big container like that. But with the whole oats, the whole grain oats, the brand I use is Lowen. I really like Lowen oats, they're quite natural. So 8 cups of whole grain oats. You might get like a big bowl to mix all this up in. So 8 cups. So put that over there. Now another thing he talked about was a cup of wheat germ. I'm trying to not have as much gluten, so rather than using wheat germ, what I've modified it with is half a cup of LSA, so linseed, sunflower seeds and almonds. You throw that in the bowl, and half a cup of the psyllium husks. So remember I've said before that psyllium husks are really high in soluble fibre, so good for cholesterol lowering, no calories and make you feel fuller for longer. So we've got the 8 cups of oats, half a cup of LSA, half a cup of psyllium. The next thing I'm going to be using is some really nice organic sultanas. So half a cup of sultanas you throw in, and some organic apricots. So these ones don't have any sulfites in them. So half a cup of chopped apricots. You pop that in as well. The nuts that I would prefer would be walnuts, so use half a cup of walnuts and chop it up and put it in. and also half a cup of almonds that you can chop up and put in as well. And that's the recipe, and you can think of the options are endless. If you mix that all up, I'd put in a few teaspoons of cinnamon to taste as well. Other combinations you could have would be something like you could do prunes and apple, you could also use chopped fig, you could use cranberries. I mean, it just depends on what your taste buds prefer. But the combination I tend to like is the sultanas and apricots mixed with the almonds and the walnuts. Gives it a beautiful flavour. You can put cold milk or soy milk on it in the morning, or if you want a bircher type style muesli, you can actually soak it overnight with a bit of milk, eat it in the morning, and it will actually be quite plump and juicy. A traditional bircher muesli uses apple juice and cream, so quite high in unnecessary carbohydrate and fat. So if you did it this way, it would be naturally sweet and naturally milk. So guys, this is the finished product. Neish, tell us what you've got there.
Okay, so we've got our beautiful little green smoothie here. Great way to start the day and get that extra bit of fruit and veg in first thing. This is what we would have as soon as we would get up. And then breakfast number 2 is our beautiful docker. So it's a bircher without the soaking, all done in just a couple of minutes. Only juice in there is the natural juice from the apple.
Great, looks really nice. And so what I've got here is the oat bran cooked with prunes, bit of cinnamon in there and LSA, and a splodge of soy milk. So that's the first thing I have in the morning. On other days I'll have a homemade muesli. So you've got the oats, the prunes feature again, some walnuts, LSA and a bit of soy milk, but you can also put a dollop of yogurt on there as well. So that's it, oats 3 days and a nice green smoothie to kickstart the day.